Hello and welcome on back to Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds coverage. Today we're going to be talking about a huge feature with this expansion, which is Homesteads, aka player housing for Guild Wars 2. Finally! After so many years, it's finally here! Before we progress, I would like to mention that down below in the description you can use my link to pre-purchase Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds to secure your spots in the Isles of Janthir. But also, secure your plot of land so you can better customize and personalize your homestead. First and foremost, player housing. People have been asking for player housing for so many years now. And we've of course had our home instances with very limited customization. We can get certain crafting nodes there and go and farm them. We've had guild halls, which are much more in line with the prospect of player housing. However, it was tied to guild systems and oftentimes required you to have quite a few people in a guild to really capitalize on all the elements of the space and the amount of money that it requires to actually get certain assets to customize the guild hall. I must admit, I'm not much of a I'm not much of a builder. I'm not much of a player housing person who likes to sit there and customize all of the little tidbits and like little details that other players can really get into. People love to customize and build and personalize their experience and personalize their home in video games, which I've grown to appreciate more as I've gotten older, I must say. So I think if you had asked me a couple years if I was excited about this feature, I would have been like, absolutely not. I actually hate it. I would have actually loathed it, because it means that everyone would just be in their own little bubble all the time. However, now, being a bit more matured and a bit more open-minded to certain things, I actually am a little bit more intrigued in the system and excited to play it myself and not just hire one of my friends to come and decorate my homes, which I most definitely will probably be doing. It is okay. You can just contract people who have like a better interior design eye. With this system of player housing, you have so much more access and so much more flexibility with decorations and placements and where specifically you want to place it. And I think that really is beautiful. I have questions as to how it's going to be integrated into the scribing system, if it's going to be integrated at all. Now, at the time of recording this video, I actually don't know too much about this system, but other than that, it's just like a thing. And when it comes to scribing, people often remark that it is an incredibly expensive profession or job to partake in the game because it requires so much gold and materials. But it is rather rewarding for players who enjoy guild halls and decorating. I wonder if they're going to touch base with the scribing system when it comes to player housing and utilize the scribing system to allow players to more readily and more comfortably craft certain assets for their player housing and homestead. Now, will they have to take another look at certain costs of recipes and materials and how much it actually makes? Perhaps. And will they have to maybe add more pieces to scribing and furniture and decoration? Probably. And how will we acquire these items? Will there be a possibility of acquiring certain items by doing events and meta events, or raids and strike missions and fractals? I surely hope so, because it would allow myself, as someone who really enjoys endgame content and doing instance content, a more readily able way of acquiring assets and decorations to place in my player housing. Now, that does sound pretty exciting to me. Getting rewarded in another way. That is not just another skin that I inevitably will not use, or just general gold. It'll be something that I can place in my own player housing and customize and shift and help create an aesthetic, whatever aesthetic I'm gonna go for. So I find that to be really exciting. And does this mean other things for the other meta events, like in the Heart of Thorns meta events, where you have the option and the chance of getting certain decoration pieces? I hope that they might even go back to other meta events and add a couple decoration rewards for like Path of Fire or End of Dragons and maybe even Secrets of the Obscure. So that does sound pretty exciting, and I think that this could be a wildly expansive content form for players in terms of replayability of just other game areas, PvP and World versus World included. And I think that is a beautiful thing. It would help incentivize players to go after certain accomplishments and goals that they otherwise really wouldn't if certain rewards didn't excite them as much. Now, this all brings up the question of the gem store. I wonder, and this is purely speculation, I wonder, and I also imagine, that we're going to get some decoration sets exclusively in the gem store, which, depending on their price tag, might be a really great thing for Guild Wars 2, as this is a very cheap game in terms of the price point for the expansion, and the fact that it doesn't have a subscription fee. Most of the income that is generated is through the cash shop, or the gem store, where it's purely cosmetics and you get certain armor and weapon skins, but you also get mount skins or other quality of life services, which aren't necessary to the game, but just help you. Now, when it comes to decorations, depending on their price point, this could be a gold mine for them to venture off into. However, I don't know if the pricing is very, very tricky. As a player, I'm not sure what my most comfortable price point would be. Comment down below what you would accept for a price point of a decoration set that maybe came with like 3 decoration items. Would 300 gems be okay? Would 400 gems be okay? Is 600 gems too much? I guess it also depends on if there is like a statement piece, like one singular piece that goes for like 800 gems but has so much detail to it, versus maybe a pack that is a little less detailed but comes in a set. There are a couple factors here, but I would love to see, and I imagine that we're going to see both of those situations come to fruition, where you have sets that you can purchase and then you also have like special decorative items that you can purchase as like a singular item. But a lot of people were memeing around the idea when mounts were first coming into the game that they would pay upwards of 2,000 gems to purchase like certain skins for mounts. And then it ended up actually happening, and people had a little bit of backlash for that. They didn't love the fact that they were priced so highly. And I think they could also, well, they being ArenaNet, they might also run into a similar situation if they price furniture and decorations too high as well. It will be an extremely alluring item for players who are really into housing, and they would probably get it. But in terms of the amount of players who would be interacting with the gem store and then furniture and decorations, I think a little bit lower is probably on the safer side. And then as you continue to implement certain decorations, maybe you will have statement pieces that warrant a higher price tag. Because you can also transfer gold into gems. It is technically an obtainable in-game, while, you know, minus a lot of grinding. It's still attainable. So I think those are just the thoughts circling in my mind right now when it comes to the system. And I also start to think of, are we just going to get this homestead in this expansion? Or could they add to the gem store even, or even in-game, other areas where you can then create your homestead? Could you, I guess, would they be able to transfer the home instance into a homestead and apply all of those technologies into the player's home instance? Would we get a plot of land that we could possibly purchase in the heart of Maguma? Could we purchase like a penthouse suite at the top of New Kining City? Could we explore and then I guess claim a stretch of desert or caves within the desert? And you have these like beautiful tunnels and oases and waterfalls. There's a lot of potential here in terms of capitalizing on the other prior expansions. So creating new evergreen content for current players and future players. And I think that is absolutely beautiful and really exciting to see. So I think that's kind of all of my thoughts in regards to homesteads and player housing in Guild Wars 2. I'm excited. I'm much more open to this idea and much more eager to see how it will ultimately play out. And as someone who really loves playing the game and, you know, combat, I hope that there are more features that tie into the PvE experience. Maybe like collect all of those portal tomes into one home instance teleportation system, very similar to what they have in the guild hall, where you can just go to your home instance and then teleport to whichever region you want to. Or maybe you can have a bounty board in your home instance that will take you on specific or new bounty missions to go and do, or, you know, fight rifts and tell you where to go. And maybe you'll have NPCs come into your homestead that have like a weekly quest to do, and a repeatable weekly quest to do on all of your characters that will give you like an additional gold or something, or maybe like some crafting materials, or I don't know, a mystic clover. I think there's a lot that they could interact with this, and I really hope that this is a content piece that they don't drop next expansion. This seems like it could be a core pillar to Guild Wars 2, depending on how lucrative it becomes for the players and also the company itself. And I am excited to see how they handle this. Thank you all so much for coming on by. If you would like to pre-order Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds and secure your plot of land in Janthir, you can use my link down below. Thank you so much. And you can also like, comment, and subscribe for more Guild Wars 2 content. If you'd like to support me on Patreon and get early access to videos and some exclusive videos, feel free to head on over to the Patreon. Keep on the lookout, because we have more to talk about with Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone. Mwah.